Canada has become so lawless for the oligarchs up front that Mark Carney is now following Justin Trudeau's suit in an even more blatant way. Carney just announced a $2 billion Canadian taxpayer investment in so-called clean energy. He believes in this centralized spending, taking his Brookfield CEO hat and bringing it to Canada, despite the fact that we have 10 years of evidence that this type of central planning does not work. And he's just at the $2 billion investment announcement, mentioning companies that he's personally invested in. GE Verbosa, GE Hitachi are among the over 600 companies that Carney personally has investments in. And now just in blatantly breaking the law, a Canadian Prime Minister is not legally allowed to go in front of the media and talk about companies that he personally has investment in. That's what happened in Canada. This is how lawless it is. It's so crazy. We're seeing communism introduced here. They're introducing Bill C-9, Bill C-8, the most extreme free speech laws you've ever seen, where if you criticize the government on immigration, you get canceled. I got banned at 30,000 TikTok followers for criticizing the government on immigration, these hate mobs. We're seeing a total authoritarian takeover in Canada. They are eliminating the average everyday citizens allowed to speak his mind, the most fundamental right that you have as a free human being. They are stealing our most fundamental right. Well, as these communist programs always go, the guys up top, guys like Mark Carney, are just blatantly flouting the law. I couldn't believe it. He's now done this on several occasions. I'm not keeping my breath held that CBC, CTV, any of the state propagandists are ever going to mention it. Thank God there's YouTube, but now the Canadian government is removing any conservative commentators. So will we see any reporting on it? But he's just going right in front of the media now and blatantly name-dropping companies that he personally has investments in. It's incredible the amount of money that Mark Carney has made for himself personally since he's become Prime Minister of Canada. Like I said, he's not even being tactical about it or soft with it. Literally in front of the media, mentioning by name GE Hitachi, that he personally has an investment, clearly illegal. And no crickets. I've looked at CBC, CTV, Global News. There is no mention whatsoever of the fact that the Prime Minister of Canada is making it blatantly apparent that the law doesn't apply to him, at the same time as he is looking to curtail everyday Canadians' free speech like we've never seen before in this country. It's so ironic how these communists always want to break the rules so blatantly themselves while they impose the rules as strictly as ever before on you. And it goes into the communist mindset. They believe that they are absolutely correct. They are totalitarian in their thought. That's why they think if you don't buy into green initiatives, if you point out that the reason we have a 7.1% unemployment rate, 22% unemployment rate among young men is definitively largely due to these green initiatives we have pursued for the past 10 years, despite the fact that Canada only accounts for 1.5 to 2% of total CO2 emissions. China is 33%. If you want it to make any difference, you'd export our LNG to China, because Canada makes up for such a small percentage of global emissions. The idea that we are going to handicap our economy like we have for the past 10 years, when we have a record over 2 million Canadians using food banks in order to be greener, is sick. But that's exactly what these communists want. You look at it, when you log into My Service Canada already, there's something about a digital identity verification. They want an entire system where if you go over your emissions allotment, this coming from a man who treats himself like a prince, flies halfway across the world every day on Canadian taxpayers' dime. If you go over your allotment by the government of Canada on your car gas use, on your meat consumption, on whatever they can control. They want to control absolutely everything, absolutely every aspect of your life. They're going to be able to stop you from making a purchase at the grocery store if you've eaten too much meat, stop you from being able to drive if you've gone over your gas allotment. So they want total control over your life, at the same time as what Mark Carney is doing is blatantly illegal. It's bad enough that he lied during the run-up to the election and stated that all that he owned was personal real estate and cash, when it turns out he has investments in over 600 companies, over 90% of which are located in the United States. Think of that. The Prime Minister of Canada 90% of his investments are in the United States, 600 different investments. If that's not enough, and he's making money hand over fist. He's handed out contracts, at least tens of contracts to businesses he's directly implicated. If you just go look at a stock tracker, if you had picked all the stocks when Carney was elected as prime minister, you'd be up something like 60% right now. It's insane. A ton of his stocks are up nearly 100%, ones he's personally invested. It's such blatant no to legality. And it would be bad enough on its own. If he was just going out. He had all these investments and he was kind of behind the scenes making all this money. But the fact that this man is so corrupt that he can't help himself from literally going in front of cameras and telling Canadians, oh, GE Hitachi, GE Verbosa, companies that he personally profits from. The man already has tens of millions of dollars. He's spent his entire life sucking up to the WF Davos and Brookfield Asset Management. But blatantly shilling the companies he's invested in at the same time as he wants to bring 1.5 million more people into the country when over 2 million Canadians are using food banks. There's a housing crisis like you've never seen before. It is literally treasonous to bring another 1.5 million people into the country. But Mark Carney says that if you want to criticize him over that immigration policy, you shouldn't be allowed to speak. Like I said, I've already been removed from TikTok. I'm sure the Canadian government will come after me here. They don't like dissidents whatsoever. It's what commies always do. They try to totally control the media. They give CBC $1.5 billion a year to spout their propaganda. There's no point in watching the CBC. You might as well just get the talking points from whatever the Liberal Party is putting out, and that's exactly what you're going to see on the CBC. I'm not holding my breath for any reporting on Mark Carney just blatantly breaking the law, shilling companies he's personally invested. But I hope that the vast majority of people in this country realize now that the law, it was made so clear. Well, Justin Trudeau was prime minister, whether we're talking SNC Lavalin, We Charity, Arrive Can, App Scandal, Green Slush Fund, too many to go through. And now Mark Carney just blatantly breaking the law to enrich himself. This central government planning way of spending money centrally and thinking it's going to boost the economy when we already know that this doesn't work. We already have 10 years of proof, 10 years of Justin Trudeau's disastrous growth of the federal government. And now Carney's just, not even trying to hide it in any way. Just out here shilling for companies that he is personally involved with. And he knows rightly, as sick as it is, he rightly knows that the RCMP is in his pocket. It's sick. It's sick to watch this guy, but watch this guy right beside the head of the RCMP. Them all buddy, knowing that he'll never get prosecuted for a single thing. It's sick. It's sick what's going on in this country, and Canadians need to wake the hell up, open their eyes to the fact that we have communists who are coming after us in this country. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, join, become a member, grab some gear, donate. I really appreciate the support everybody has. It means a lot to me. And I'm going to keep going after Carney because he's just blatantly breaking the law on an everyday basis now.